Welcome back, everyone, to Into the Nexus, the Heroes of the Storm podcast. I am Garrett Weinzerl, and I am joined, as always, by Willie Dills, and not as always, by Robert Wing. Robert,
hi.
Welcome to the show. You're not Kyle. What are you doing here?
Kyle is in a place, and I promise you he'll be released safely once the show is over.
Okay.
What have you done with our Kyle?
Doesn't matter.
I threw to the guests just for fun, and that escalated quickly.
That got out of hand.
That really got out of hand.
Yeah, Kyle is, I believe he's in, where the hell is he? He's in, like, Washington. He's in Seattle.
Yeah, that's right. He's checking out his new
apartment
digs,
shopping.
right? Or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, because he'll be moving soon. So he's trying to find a new apartment in time for the International, because he's a bastard and got a free ticket to that.
Wow.
So he's not here today, but we got the wonderful Robert Wing from Blizz Pro. And just as of today, can we talk about your new writing gig?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, he's now writing for WoW Insider as well. But it's for Heroes of the Storm, correct?
I'm writing at WoW Insider about Hearthstone, and I'm the site manager for Blizz Heroes, or Heroes of the Storm, at Blizz Pro.
Wonderful.
Very cool. Congratulations, man.
Thank you. It's a lot of fun.
Well, welcome to the show, and thanks for filling in so last minute. We knew Kyle was going to be gone, but we just like to neglect any type of proper planning for a podcast.
Yeah, I think we sent an email back and forth like a few days ago, and then did nothing for the next couple days.
More or less. More or less.
No, thank you guys for having me. I mentioned it before, but I wanted to be on this podcast, and I just kept forgetting to ask. So our mutual negligence worked out.
There it is. Done.
Somehow we both just put things off until it all just fell into place on its own, which I think is the way things are supposed to happen. So
it's a very natural chain of events.
I'm just going to say this about, if you ever get a chance to play a game of Heroes with Robert, you're going to have a good time, win or lose. We played a few games. I guess it was a few weeks ago now, right?
Yeah.
I haven't played it since, but man, we were having a really good time. I think, was that the original night when Hold My Beer became a thing? That could have been. I can't remember now. But
it sounds familiar, but it's all a blur of beer, to be honest.
When you drink a lot of beer, play a lot of video games, sometimes the nights just kind of string together. But yeah, it was a lot of fun playing with you. I look forward to doing it again. Maybe after the show.
Maybe we'll see. We'll see how this goes. We'll see how much rage the murky discussion incites this evening, and if I actually feel like subjecting myself to that afterwards.
Just talking about him might put you into a Garrett rage.
Exactly. Anyways, so guys, last week we had 20 minutes before the show with the patch live. Dills, you hadn't even had a chance to play it. Kyle hadn't had a chance to play it. I had to leave a game mid-game because I wanted to try Arthas that badly before the show. So we didn't really have a whole lot of time to actually play with the patch. We discussed the patch and all the changes that came with it, but we've actually now had the patch for a week. We've had a chance to sit down and kind of take it in. So what are your guys' thoughts on it so far? How are you liking everything in the new patch? Because it feels not entirely like a new game, but it looks like a new game.
Pretty close, yeah. This is about as refreshed as you're going to get with a game like this, I think. I mean, just the fact that the entire UI is different alone would have made the game feel very fresh, but throw in the fact that a bunch of heroes have been completely changed, so all the things that all the counters and all the ways you knew to play against them, those are all gone. You got to figure all that out again. And then the adding of one hero specifically has completely changed the meta of this game. I don't think I've played a single game since then that didn't have Murky in it somewhere.
Nope. No, I neither have I.
Yeah.
Robert,
so that's kind of insane. I know he's new, so obviously he's the new shiny, but that's still pretty crazy because it wasn't like I saw Brightwing every game when Brightwing came out. I still don't see Lily basically at all. So
I've been seeing a lot more Lily this week. Lily's really strong after her changes.
Yeah.
Robert, what's your experience been like?
To be honest, I gotta agree with Dills here. This feels like a totally different game now.
Heroes of the Murky?
Obviously, Heroes of the... Well, we're going to be talking, I guess, about Murky a little more maybe in depth later. So I will say, Stitches is really my hero of choice. He has been since the beginning.
Nice.
I'm a huge fan. Stitches got some changes now, and I don't know that they necessarily move him up or down in the paradigm of initiators because he's my favorite, but he has more options now. Like based on how the game is going, like it's not just such a linear build, and that's kind of a common theme with a lot of the heroes. I feel like they just have more options now, which was something Richard Koo, who's one of the game designers, had talked about in one of the heroes QAs, is that they wanted to make a system to where you didn't just always know what build you were going for. Like maybe things would just be totally different based on the comp you were playing against or based on the map you were on. So I think this patch was a great step in that direction, and obviously having a lot of options is huge. Like that's what you want to have in MOBAs, in general. And since Heroes of the Storm doesn't have items, the talents are really going to comprise these different build types you can do. Beyond Stitches, I gotta say I'm loving the new UI. I think it looks gorgeous. I think the new minimap is hella sexy.
Dude, hexagons are great.
I frankly want to take it on a date, to be honest. Illidan's playstyle is radically different now. He is, they wanted to make him Legolas from the Hobbit movies, and he's Legolas from the Hobbit movies now. He jumps around on barrels and stuff.
Hey, he's not nearly as pretty.
Well, you are not prepared for how pretty he is. No, but I think this patch, there's the only thing I'm not huge on in this patch is they kind of put in some anti-snowballing measures, which one of the members of the community who's fairly well known, Jeremy Queck, otherwise known as Squishy, he's one of the hosts of Heroes Live podcast. He actually made a really informative YouTube video, and we did an article about it over on BlizzPro, basically talking about now you can only get so far ahead of the other team before there's like this safety net put up, and then beyond that point, it's I believe it's 3 or 4 levels. Beyond that point, you can't get any farther ahead, and the other team slowly begins generating XP passively.
Which it wasn't necessarily detailed in the notes, right? It was
it was very vague. It was very this is one of those things where Squishy's video was so popular to watch because it actually kind of explained the situation way better than the patch notes did.
Yeah.
And once you actually
say something about the anti-snowballing, but they didn't say exactly what was happening.
Yeah, so it was like one sentence. It said several measures have been put in place to help with snowballing.
It was like they didn't want to get a big.
Yeah, don't look behind the curtain. I mean, I think part of it.
It was like when you listen to a commercial on the radio and it's like, buy this sweet new car. Oh, by the way, this car's gonna break. Like, it's really small talk that goes really fast. Like, oh, by the way, anti-snowballing measures.
Right, exactly.
But I mean, we're gonna talk about that a little bit more. But I gotta say, I didn't feel like instantly, like suddenly leveling wasn't a big deal. Because part of it is to say that leveling isn't the end all be all of if I'm winning or losing, right? But
no, it's
just getting into the game. That part didn't feel totally different. It already felt like. I mean, I'm sure that without me noticing, it was, but it just wasn't such a huge change to me that all of a sudden I was like, wait, what? We're not winning? We're winning. Why are we not winning? Like, it didn't all of a sudden feel that way. So
it wasn't a big thing I took from the patch. Like, this patch, if I were to give it a grade, I'd frankly give it a B+. I think it improved everything. I think it was a very natural progression for the game for where it's at right now and where it's going. This was just one of those things where, really high tier players who are used to just stomping everybody were like, why am I not stomping as hard?
Yeah.
I've been solo queuing a lot lately, and I hadn't really noticed it. But yeah, other than that, I think the patch was really, really good. I personally enjoyed most of the hero changes. The new Falstead skin is amazing looking. I don't know if you guys have seen it. The Stormlord Falstead.
That's amazing. I mean, and even his regular one, because he got his updated model.
Yeah.
And that Griffin looks sick.
Oh god, I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
It's looking real nice.
I agree with what you said about Stitches, though, too. I think Stitches I'm a new Stitches convert. Came over from Nova and started playing a lot of Stitches. And when I looked at the notes, I thought that Stitches was going to feel completely different. But I got to say, all that really happened was, as the game went on, I have more ability to say, I'm going to go in a different direction now. Like after, level 10. Now I'm going to start thinking about something else. Rather than before, it was like, I'm just going to be either big damage Stitches or big tanky Stitches. And then I just kind of went down one path or the other. And I definitely kind of alter some things as you're going, which is kind of cool.
The addition of one of his talents, which actually allows him to hook 2 targets, is huge because, some people might say, hey, this is like a mandatory thing. But like realistically, the hook has always, in all incarnations across the MOBA genre, has always been about bringing one person over.
Yeah,
you want to bring over one person and quickly kill them. So it's not a guaranteed thing. Now there are circumstances where grabbing 2 people might be super huge, but given that you have other more optimal choices, like that's what I said about like there are more options based on the circumstance. If you feel you need to get 2 heroes hooked over, you can totally take that. Otherwise, it's just kind of one of those things where you might go like a more damaging route, like you said. Like personally, I still mostly go for the slam build.
Well, that's the thing. The slam that talent is given to you at the same time as the one that is it the one that adds the stun to your slam, isn't it? Or it makes your slam more powerful or something. I think it's the stun one. So I always go for that. I'm always like, hooking two people sounds cool, and I was really excited for it. But playing it a few times, it was like, well, most of the time I'm still just trying to hook this one guy.
Exactly, and that's it gives you options, but a lot of the time you can still just afford to go with the tried and true kind of more damaging build or more of a survivability oriented build. So yeah, good patch for options for heroes.
Yeah, more options is just an all around good thing.
Yeah.
I last week was talking about how excited I was for Arthas, and I'm really enjoying him now after the changes they made to him. It's just adding Death Coil. Well, I mean, getting rid of one ability and adding an entirely new one is a big change, but it just seems like on paper, like, well, they only added one new thing, but it's made such a big difference for how he plays.
But it's a big deal, that one thing. I mean, it's actually what's the range on that anyway? I haven't played as him yet.
Oh, I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, but it is ranged,
it's
right?
A good
so
range.
You can actually do something from, like, if someone starts to get away from you, you still have an option.
Yeah,
whereas before, someone got away from you, it was like, well, do I have Syndragosa or not? Because otherwise, I have no way to get to this guy.
Yeah, and there's a there's a level 16 talent that makes it do 10% more damage for every 20% of your life that's missing.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I
You're just one-shotting people now when you're like about to die. So
I ended up just short game story, and then we'll move on. I ended up in a 1-versus-1 against a Nova, fighting over the Dragon Shrine this week. Nova drops her orbital strike. I stood in on purpose and then just one-shot her with my Death Coil.
Wow. Okay.
That's so cool though that can be done. It's cool that you can make that tactical decision, like, similar to if you were playing Hearthstone, like where you're damaging yourself out to get Molten Giants out,
Sure.
Exactly.
You can make that decision. You're like, I'm just going to basically, take all this damage.
I got some HP to spare. I would like my Death Coil to hit a little harder. It was the most badass I have felt in the entire history of this game so far. I felt like that guy that some dude just hit in the face with a 2x4, and he just stood there staring at him like, oh, you made a mistake.
You realized, well, nope, wait a minute, I made the mistake. Yeah. That's cool, because actually Lich King was not a hero that you could solo somebody with ever, really.
He was really not a hero you could play prior to the patch. Like,
I'm glad I didn't have to say it.
No, despite being like probably the most iconic character, I would say arguably the most iconic character in all of Blizzard Entertainment.
Oh, by far.
He sucked. Like, he's just like, I bought him and I was like, Frostmourn's about to hunger, and then I played 2 games like, Frostmourn's probably gonna wait until he gets him.
Frostmourn's making me want to take a nap. This is boring.
Frostmourn, let's see other people. This isn't working for me right now.
Yeah, so that's real fun.
I gotta say though, I agree with your assessment that B+ is about where this patch was, because I don't think that we're not expecting these patches to be perfect right now, because they're trying things out. There's going to be some swing and misses at some point, but I felt like this was a big enough improvement that it just really refreshed the game and got me reinvigorated, more excited than I already was about where this game is going. And then also things like, the minimap is a little too big or something, that's not a big deal. That can be changed. So there's nothing in this patch that made me like scream out in anger. I wasn't mad about any of this stuff. Right. And that's a good sign.
Right.
All of this stuff is, this is the time to try things out, and I'm really glad that they are like trying out big sweeping changes and new ideas that haven't been tried before. So it just sets like a good precedent for what Blizzard's going to do with this game.
Yeah. So let's get into talking about the anti-snowballing system that has been, added, changed, whatever, in this new patch. Because a big discussion happened over on the official forums, and Dustin Browder, who everyone in the chat room is saying that Robert looks somewhat like. Because
which, by the way,
if you have a
the greatest compliment I've ever been given. Dustin Browder is so my hero after he yelled at League of Legends people at BlizzCon. Like, I just... when that guy stood, he's like, I like League of Legends a lot. Who are you marketing Heroes of the Storm towards? And he's like, whoever wants to play Heroes of the Storm.
Drop the mic, walk away.
I don't care about you. He just throws down the mic.
If you'll excuse me, I have to go design some more destructible rocks.
Yeah, this hero never dies.
So Dustin Browder, kind of kicked the door down on the forums because, in short, there are a lot of people in there saying that the higher XP gain for the team that is behind is too strong and takes away from the reward of playing better. Go check out the thread and read it yourself. But he got in there and he dropped a lot of info on what Blizzard's thinking was, which is really good. And honestly, should have probably
very upfront.
Should have probably been in the note in the patch notes in the first place.
Sure,
but it's still cool that hey, this is what we're thinking. The quote he said, we think that if you are 3 levels up, you have in a sense won the leveling game. And to wrap up what he said, he basically says, go do something else. Go win the Merc game or the objective of that map game. Like, you don't need to be 6 levels above your opponents.
It's what ends up happening is when someone gets like 2 or 3 levels up, they basically just roam and look for team fights because they can smash you at that point. And it puts the other team in a position where they can't really do anything. They're just kind of like, unless we can sneak up on something and they don't know we're there, we can't really do any of this other stuff. So what this is basically like forced them to do is to stop trying to just get away with that, and that makes them win the game, but actually do all of the other aspects of the game that matter. So I think this is actually a really good idea. I don't know if the implementation is perfect yet, but the idea is sound, and I'm glad they're trying stuff out that, like, again, no one else is doing this in a MOBA. So I think it's a really, really cool idea and a concept, and we'll see how they tweak it, but I think it will get tweaked.
First off, I gotta say, I love the way Dustin explained it. Dustin just has a way of explaining things that, like, even if I don't like it, just makes me okay with it. Because he's correct. When you watch other MOBAs, like say, you watch competitive League of Legends, Dota, say Here's the New Earth, you often watch games where, the early game pretty much decides it. The opposing team loses in the first 10 minutes, and it's impossible for them to climb back in, and that's pretty much game. And I like the idea because Here's the Storm is it's more PvE based in certain points because of the objectives. That is an area you can just go win. Like he brings up the point, like, you've won the XP contest. Go do something else. Like, I think that's a neat statement. And, Heroes of the Storm was advertised as being, they want to make something that's radically different from the rest of the genre. And, you have a lot of people who are like, oh, that's so cool, that's so cool. And then you see these changes coming in and people are like, I don't really like this now. This isn't what I'm used to. I don't like the way they just kind of slid it in there without like a good explanation in the patch notes. I don't understand why they did that because, I would think that if they'd explained it, this probably would go better than like somebody like digging it up. But that said, I think it's worth looking at and kind of watching and seeing how it happens because my initial protest was literally just from the point of this is different, I don't like it. And I realized, like, if you're going to buy into the idea of Heroes of the Storm, you have to buy into the idea that things are going to be different. And you have to give it a shot. Like, if obviously all of us in an alpha right now, and if you're an alpha at home, then, you need to actually sit down and give this a shot. Be like, do I want to be in a situation where games are decided by the first few plays? Or, this 3 levels is striking distance. You always have a chance to make something happen in a team fight. 6 levels, there is literally nothing that's going to happen.
No, you can't do it.
You're going to die.
Yeah.
You're just going to die.
And you're going to feel bad.
So 3 levels, if you go into a team fight, say, you just get, your team just hit 10. You've all got your heroics. You're going up against another team that's hit 13. You have the chance to pull something off through very intuitive play. So, I don't know. I'm starting to warm up to the change. Initially wasn't huge on it. I appreciate, as with most issues so far in the alpha, that, Dustin or Richard or somebody has come up and just said, hey, you know what? We appreciate your feedback. Please keep giving it to us. They're not trying to be like, oh, look at these jerks. They're being very open about it. They have a very good procedure when it comes to that.
It is true, though, that they could have just explained this right away, and I don't think there would have been any major blowback other than what has already happened. But I don't know. I think that the idea was that this was a change that they're not 100% convinced about, and they didn't want to put this in stone, basically. Like, this is definitely how it's going to be from here on out. So that might have been part of the reason why they didn't full-on explain it right away. However, I think the explanation satisfied me. I'm good to go. Let's just play some games. I do agree that this game shouldn't be only about the level, and that's one of the things that's really cool about this is there's a lot of other things to do on these maps. When you play League of Legends, it's like, well, I'm either pushing a lane or I'm killing you, or that's pretty much what I'm doing, right? Here you've got like a bunch of different things you can be doing that can help your team win. So it's just, like you said, you have to be willing to try out the ideas that they're coming forth with, and some of them will work and some won't.
It's
this
the whole
one. Jury's out.
It's the whole point of the alpha. Like at the end of the day, and Dustin even like kind of signed off from this. Like, hey, we could be wrong.
Yeah,
let us know.
That's a great statement as well. Just that we could be wrong. You want to hear that from a developer.
And this is the kind of stuff I want to see in an alpha.
Yeah.
What I'm curious about for this kind of overarching this philosophy in general of the kind of the, I don't know, not quite a rubber band, but kind of is. It helps you. It kind of helps bring you up. Because one of the things I really enjoy watching Dota esports, and one of the things I really like about it, I mean, if anyone out there, if you watch any MOBA, I'm sure, but Dota is my mine of choice, but it doesn't matter. What's one of the most awesome things that you can witness in a live esports event? It's a badass freaking comeback when the team you're rooting for, they're down. It looks like there's no way in hell they could possibly pull this one out, and all of a sudden, from a few clutch decisions and good teamwork, they turn it around and they take the win. And that's what I like looking at this and trying to see the bright side of it. I'm like, well, okay, cool. This just makes comebacks more possible, so I'm all for that.
Moreover, just in general, close matches. How fun is it to watch a match that is not close, that is just totally one-sided from the beginning? The casters are literally just sitting there trying to think of things to talk about. Like, from a casting standpoint, this is going to make games so much more fun because they'll always be interesting. There's, like you said, like the big comeback, everybody loves that. And it's one of those things where if you put into the game mechanically that the big comeback is always there to be had, inherently when this gets to the stage where everyone is, watching these big matches, and when we're dealing with like world tournaments, Heroes of the Storm, you're always going to have something to watch. Like I can't stand one-sided matches. I'd flip onto something else. It's the same for this, for sports, whatever. But if you give me the chance that it's always going to be close and it's always going to be a hard-fought match and it's going to be entertaining, I'll watch every single match.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I fully agree. And it's also not just the watching perspective, but when you're playing, the fact that you don't feel like you're out of it. And when you actually do come back, that is one of the most satisfying feelings as a player that you can have. Is like, wow, we were not supposed to win this game and somehow we found a way to do it. So even if that's a little bit kind of, there's a little bit of a mechanic in there to help that happen, it doesn't feel diminished when it does happen. And we've had some games in Heroes where we have come back and it's really epic, It's like, holy crap, man, we pulled that out. That was amazing.
And every time, 15 minutes before, I've gone, well, this is over. And at the end, Dills goes, you're a dick, Garrett.
I remember that game. We were playing a game, and Garrett was like, this is over. I was like, no, Garrett.
No.
Not yet.
No. You shut your mouth.
More hooks. Better hooks. Best hooks. No, we had those nights when we were playing like 2 or 3 nights in a row, we had some super close matches, and they were a ton of fun. And that's what it should be about, is close matches. So while the safety net at first bothered me, but it should be fun. Games should be fun.
Yeah.
2014 into this.
We finally figured it out, you guys.
Guys, it's so simple.
Yeah, but it's not that fun to realize that you have no chance to win, right? And then like someone made the point that like, oh, well, in StarCraft, you can just have a game where there's no way the other guy can come back. It's like, yeah, sure you can, but you can also GG the hell out of there. Like anytime you realize that you've reached that point, it's like, okay, I'm out. And in Heroes, like that's not really an option. You can be like, all right, everybody just chill back at the home base and just let them kill the stupid thing.
Whatever. Too. Like whenever somebody's like do that, I'm like, no, I'm fighting. Like I'm always fighting.
I'm just like, nah, screw it. I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna hook somebody, and then I'm gonna eat them, and I'm gonna run behind my. I want to do something.
Probably get killed.
When I'm in there,
the whole other team.
I'm going to be the downer here. I agree with that when I'm in there with 4 other people I know when I'm talking to on Skype. If I'm alone with 4 other guys and they're just being morons, I'm just like, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to read some articles, okay?
Yeah, that's what it's like. You get up and you go make your sandwich, and then you come back.
Just like, oh, look, that Malfurion is still engaging 4-on-1. No wonder this isn't going well.
But here's the thing, though, Garrett, and your attitude about that might change over time playing this game more than the other games because of the fact that you will come back more often.
Oh, that's true.
Like over time, right now you're like still used to the fact that like, we got no chance. Oh, my team sucks. We got no chance. But
I was trying to just make a passing joke. I could get into this, and this could be its own topic, which is the issues of pickup groups versus pre-mades.
Oh yeah.
Which is just its own. There's only so much you can do.
Yeah, but even in a pickup group, like maybe I could just like. I can use that chat that still exists and rally my troops and be like,
Still
hey,
exists.
stop being a bunch of dumbasses. Let's actually fight,
You need to be able to play like sound bites. Like you could just play like freedom. Your whole team's like, oh yeah, that's what we were fighting for the whole time.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Freedom. I forgot. I thought I was just supposed to be killing creeps by myself.
Better be a really big cooldown on being able to play sound bites. That's all
Oh
I'm going
god,
to say.
just over. Free.
I want the Duke Nukem soundboard. That's what I want.
I
See yell balls of steel as I run in with Arthas and don't die because I'm the new Arthas.
Or you die on almost die on purpose because of Arthas.
Exactly. I need my nuke-worthy freaking death coil. So, anyways, good on Dustin for telling us exactly what their thought process is. So now we're leaving official Heroes Town and we're making a pit stop at unofficial data mine. None of this is officially from Blizzard, waving a big red flag. Hey, this is not from Blizzard. Before we get in here and talk about this, a new map has been data mined, new battleground, and this is via HeroesNexus.com. And to quote them, they say, references to a new map have been spotted in the game client. This map appears to be much like the Haunted Mines, where you need to collect items from minions in order to satisfy the grand objective, only instead of undead and skulls, it's zombies and seeds. Zombies come out at night. Yes, there is a day and night cycle, and they drop seeds once they've been slain. Once your team has collected 100 seeds, you will plant them to summon yourselves a plant horror. So we're getting a Plants vs. Zombies battleground.
Plants vs. Zombies, yeah. Here you go. Which is also in WoW, by the way. So,
it is. I've got that sunflower pet.
Yeah.
It's creepy.
So this is interesting. I don't know what this plant horror does. Does anybody know what it's supposed to do? Or is it just like a type of thing?
It hasn't really been data mined whatever it's supposed to do. So
looking at what Heroes Nexus pulled out of the game to figure this out, it's all just voiceover strings.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's probably going to be a big angry thing, I'm sure.
Yeah, let's make some predictions. I think this will be some sort of combination of the golem / pirate ship, where it's like a big thing that also shoots,
but it's ranged
things around the map. Yeah, as it goes. Yeah.
Really
so I think it's going to like kind of be going down a lane, but it's also going to be chucking stuff out. Because that's, to me, seems like a Plants vs. Zombie style thing, where it's basically like, it's got some special ability that shoots things. Because that's what almost all of the stupid plants do in that game. By the way, that game was fun for like 10 minutes for me. I'm sorry to anybody who really loves that game.
Oh my god, you have said the wrong thing, Bill.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
I loved Plants vs. Zombies so much the first time I picked it up on computer that like basically. Small story here, but my internet went out because I could not afford internet like 3 years back, and I was like looking at all the games I had that did not require internet. And so I booted up Plants vs. Zombies for the first time. I probably almost died of dehydration. I couldn't stop playing it. Like I was so helplessly addicted to it. Like my girlfriend's like, "Hey, you gonna come?" I'm like, "No." More Plants vs. Zombies.
Some stuff and kill more zombies.
She's like, "We have internet again." I was like, "Shut up and go away." More
I don't need internet ever again.
It's so much fun.
They've got ladders now. You don't understand.
Like they play a little song when you beat the game, and it's like, "We don't want zombies on the lawn." Like it's this whole little like silly song. Like I am just unreasonably excited for Plants vs. Zombies anything. Like they could be like, "Rob, we're gonna give you like Plants vs. Zombies towels for your bathroom." I'd be like, "Ah, like I need this." I really don't know exactly what the plant horror is. I know what it won't be, I would imagine, even though I want it. Like, I would love for it to sound like a plant horror that just randomly goes after people on your team. Like, you can't see where it is on the map, and it just goes after people on your team until you kill it. And then once you kill it, and obviously you can just stay in the base, and the base would help you kill it. It would probably do property damage trying to get to you. But the idea of this thing that just hunts you down, like hunts your team, because obviously, the golem is one of those things where, it ignores you. It's like, hey,
it doesn't care.
I'm just here to cause property damage. You guys need to stop being such pains in the butts. And it just kind of tries to ignore you. But I would like to see a mechanic that chases you down.
That's kind of a cool idea to have it, actually go after.
And then once it dies, obviously the fight would begin again to see who, which team it's going after.
Sure. That could be interesting.
Will it yell, "Feed me Seymour"?
Due to copyright infringements? Yes. No. I don't know. I don't think it would, but it would be pretty awesome if it did, just because we'd be going across multiple references at that point.
See, Blizzard, that's what I want. I want to kill the heroes, then collect their arms and legs and feed that to the plant.
Oh my. Okay.
Can't we do that?
This got to a dark place.
No, and give me
let's get a dentist hero in here too.
I want a Steve Martin voiceover pack. It'd be wonderful. Who doesn't want Steve Martin announcing their Heroes of the Storm game?
All right, well, let's see what your prediction is, Garrett. What do you think? Plant Horde, what's it gonna do?
You kind of took what I was thinking, Dills. I was thinking that it'd be something that would be mobile but ranged as opposed to melee.
Okay.
Big kind of. They shoot peas in the game. That's what the plants do.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, it could sit in the lane and just like shoot peas down the lane type of thing. That could also be a thing.
That's a good point. I think
it's definitely going to be a big mobile plant that's moving around.
What if it was 3 lanes and you could choose where to plant your seeds?
Oh, that would be interesting.
So I want top, mid, or bottom lane pushed with this plant.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
Awesome. Like, I really want this.
I'm just stoked that there's going to be more than 4 maps. Like the fact that there's already another map in the works, that's just really exciting to me. Like you could see this game at some point be having like 10 maps, and you never know what you're going to get. And the different heroes are stronger on different maps, and that's where I really hope we end up going.
I still really want the franchise-specific maps, though.
Yeah, I do too. I'm so waiting on like an Ashenvale map. I want it so badly.
Oh, I want the creeps to be orcs and humans and zergs and treasure goblins. Like
that would be so awesome.
Treasure goblins? Oh man, yes, yes, please.
Come on, bring it. Let's do this. What are you guys waiting for?
That would be amazing.
Oh man, pandemonium! You just have like hell demons and angels just running the lanes. That'd be amazing.
Honestly, you could just do like a generic Alliance versus Horde map in general.
Yeah.
Obviously have like the when they start getting catapults, you have like the Night Elf style like siege launchers kind of deal. Frankly
Winter Grasp, the map where you actually get into catapults and drive them up the lanes and stuff.
I can't even hear the word Winter Grasp without going into like a blinding rage. Winter Grasp.
Bring it back.
No more.
No more.
Oh, man.
You're
so into that.
You are the minority, Robert.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. So many bad memories on that.
As long as you're not pro Tulbarad, we can still be friends.
Nobody's pro Tulbarad.
Yeah, you can't find somebody who is. No.
That would be hilarious. That would just be like the trolliest thing ever. Blizzard's like, our first Blizzard-specific map, Tulbarad. Like,
Brad, yeah, you're like, no, Blizzard.
Tons of selfies of people foaming at the mouth would start flooding the internet. Also, under rumors and unofficial jazz, the Founders Pack. A lot of this has been going around the web quite a bit. Also, at least I saw this on Heroes Nexus. They said that this was found on the Battle.net launcher, but I never saw this.
I never saw it either.
It was in Europe? Didn't they say it was in Europe?
Was it in Europe? Oh, yes, it is. Okay.
It might have been, yeah.
Because it currently links to a dead page on the European Battle.net shop.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but there are no European players except the ones who got hand invited. I know a friend of mine, Kelrick, she does Warcraft videos, and she lives in Britain, I believe, and she pretty much got like the email invite because she does content, but like there's not just Europeans being invited into the beta that I know of, or alpha rather.
My understanding of that is that's correct. It's right now we're just getting there's not like a bunch of servers and all that stuff yet. So, yeah. But I don't understand really what this is. You purchase this? I'm still a little confused.
Yeah, it appears to be something that you purchase that grants you beta access and a solid gold wolf mount.
Okay.
Well, nothing on pricing point thus far, unfortunately.
Nothing whatsoever.
I'd be curious to see, and I don't personally know that I like this.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Just because you already got, honestly, like I know a lot of people are not in the alpha, but you already have so many people in the alpha, Like it seems, I don't know, it seems like a weird thing to do. But again, like I would have to see the pricing point. If this was like a $5 thing, maybe, but I don't think it would be.
The thing is, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense because you're giving beta access, like just basically everybody who just doesn't have it would just have it then, if it's something really cheap. So also, I don't know. It's a little weird to me, this whole thing.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's because they're expecting beta to go on for a while, because this is what Dota 2 did. Dota 2 wasn't technically released until last year. I think
that's been said already. I think that's been said already that beta is going to be going on for a long time.
Well, then this is why, because this is exactly how Dota handled it. You could buy into the Dota beta. because it was in beta for like 3 years.
Honestly, I would have liked to have seen, and this is just me, but I would have liked to have seen something to where it's like, when you bought Warlords, you got into the beta for Heroes of the Storm. Although my one concern here is, you recall, we actually had BlizzPro. We had an interview with Dustin Browder at PAX East, and he was talking about how the biggest thing they're concerned about right now is server stability. And every time they put out a new patch, he even made a joke that we're all like, oh man, look at all these new features, and Dustin's just sitting there like, please server don't die, please server don't die. And if you put it up there to where people could just buy in, I mean, that would have to be down the road when you're really sure on the server situation. And something else to keep in mind, prior, we were waiting for Blizz Heroes to go into alpha for a while, and they were pretty much just constantly looking for a server engineer for the game. I'm not sure if you guys remember, but they were, the headhunters were really looking for someone to do that. So it's one of those things where the server situation seems like it's always been kind of volatile with that. So if you start putting it out there to where people can just buy into it, obviously they're going to have some measure in place, but I kind of wonder if that's something to where, if that's necessarily wise based on how much they've hinted thus far.
Well, it takes away a little of the control from Blizzard, because can you set a cap on this, really, if you're going to just be charging money? So it's, a Hearthstone, that was one of the big things where they were, kind of feeding them out a little at a time to just continue to put a little bit more pressure on the servers until they could really be confident that they could handle the load.
Right.
You can't really do something like this if you're not confident in handling the load. So,
well, if anyone knows,
a lot of people will do it.
Well, this is also the same company that does World of Warcraft, so
I
have faith in their server.
Yeah, no, that's totally
server knowledge.
Yeah.
There's so little info on this.
Yeah, we can't really make any kind of real...
There's nothing that says that this is coming out the second they say, okay, it's beta. Just come out 6 months after it's considered beta. 12 months is completely up to them. I don't think they're going to let as many people who want to pay join the game unless they have the infrastructure in place.
Well, this could also be a little bit of a Blizzard anti-eBay selling of beta key measure type of thing, because when Hearthstone hit, everyone was selling their beta keys and doing all these weird things with their beta keys. And we know that Blizzard has, in the past, kind of grabbed this type of stuff and just said, hey, whatever. If people are going to do this regardless, we're just going to own it. Buying a character now, you can do that through Blizzard. All that stuff that you used to have to go to the black market to do, you can kind of just do it through Blizzard now. So this is a little bit in a way like maybe them owning that and saying
they've killed
we're
the black
just
market.
Take that away.
They've killed the black market twice in Diablo 3. First at the auction house,
but that just was stupid.
Which was stupid. But then they're just like, okay, it's gone, but you can't trade.
Yeah.
But
that was a specific. That one was just so dumb. So like that. The beta keys thing, and they don't really, they try to do all these things to get rid of the gold selling in WoW, and they finally, I think, have gotten to a point where it's not as big of a thing. But the beta keys in Hearthstone was such a big thing, and people's buying a game that was in beta for like $100, and that's just crazy. So they can price it the way they feel is correct, and they can kind of control that themselves.
Yep.
So I think if that's why they're doing this, then I understand, and I'm not going to be mad about that.
Yeah, and Robert, back to your point of you saying that you would like them to just include it with like pre-ordering Warlords of Draenor or Legacy of the Void if it ever actually comes out, because this game is stealing too much of the time. There's no reason they can't still do that on top of offering the Founders Pack.
I think though that there's a certain portion of the player base that would just be really pissed because they'd be like, well, I don't want to play WoW. I just don't want to play WoW. I just want to play this game.
Right, right. Like when they gave away Diablo 3 with the annual pass. You've got a ton of that. You will always get that, though. Oh, yeah, you will always. That's the thing. When you tie two products together, it's good for the company, but there's certain people that are just not going to be happy about it. So this kind of like nips it in the bud a little bit and just says, hey, if you want in really bad, here's a way. You don't have to buy it on eBay. Sweet. I'm okay with that. Yeah, I'm interested to get more info on it. Yeah, I mean the other problem too with the whole like eBay stuff was people would just go sell a key and then the key didn't work, like all that kind of weird stuff going on. Yeah, that's exactly why they got away from it too. Like it's keys were good for a lot of people, especially in the community when you were like trying to get your work out there and everything. But then beyond that, it's great to be able to give them away on my stream. We loved it for that kind of stuff. It's a great way to get podcasts, new podcast exposure, blogs, and all that. But it's too much of a wild west thing going on because people naturally abuse it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Will
why you
Smith and
probably
giant
won't see
robot
Blizzard
spiders,
Griffin.
man. You got to watch out for them.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, I'm totally giving Blizzard the benefit of the doubt on this one right now. But again, like you said, Garrett, we just don't know enough about this to say any definitive type of like you can't have a real opinion on this yet because it's just a little picture of something that somebody saw somewhere that now goes to a 404 page. So.
Unless it costs like $100 or something, I'm all for this.
Yeah, it's fine.
Like as long as it's a reasonable amount of money.
How much does just the stupid unicorn thing cost? How much does that cost? It's like $20 or something.
It's not
$15.
An arm and a leg.
Well, I got it with I bought the starter pack, right? So I got it with that. But I think by itself it was like $15.
Something like that, yeah. But it's also a mythical creature, man. You're buying a unicorn.
That's true. I'm buying a unicorn. Not
really
not
put
a
a
lot of
price
times in your life where you could buy a unicorn.
Can you put a price on Magic? I don't think you can.
I'd prefer to have the WoW Warhorse though, honestly. I wish you could like choose the mount you want, you know?
I'm still rocking the just the direwolf, the normal direwolf, and yelling "Winter is coming" all the time. I'm a happy camper, man, putting stitches on a poor wolf.
That's pretty good look actually.
The wolf
big
right
fat
hand.
guy with a hole in his stomach on a wolf.
Stitches and Diablo. I feel so bad for their mounts.
It's not good times for them.
No, it's really not. So this is the point in the show where we start talking strategies, and this week we couldn't help it. We have to talk about Murky. There's no way we were going to get through today's episode without
the rage.
shining a big freaking spotlight on Murky. Hopefully that it dries it out and kills him, because he's an aquatic creature. I'd really like a really hot heat lamp to just dry him out and just kill that bastard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Murky is in the game now, and Dills, when we were talking about on the show when they first announced him at PAX, we're just like, this is so wacky. I love it. I love that Dustin Browder just got up on stage and said, we didn't want to design a good hero. Like, that's awesome. Wonderful. He is the harbinger of doom. I hate this guy.
Well, let's just real quick explain what happens when a Murky is in a game. So when there's a Murky in the game, you have 1 out of the 5 people playing the game not doing anything anybody else is doing, not giving a crap what else is going on anywhere else.
Unless he happens to be running by the objective at the exact time you guys engage. And they'll be like, okay, I'll poison a few guys, and I'll cast Murlocalypse. Okay, onward with my constant pushing of lanes.
Yeah, he basically ignores the rest of the battle and ignores objectives, ignores the team play, and ignores everything, and runs around and drops pufferfish on top of your towers and pushes a lane. The pufferfish do 4 times damage to buildings. So he doesn't care if he dies because he keeps coming back. And he just keeps coming back. And like we were playing a game the other night. I can't remember who we were playing with, but we were playing with someone who's playing Murky. And we get to the end of the game. We were kind of like in a hard-fought battle the whole game. And all of a sudden he goes, "Hey guys, look at the core." And we were like, "What?" And we look, and the other team's core was at 2%. At this time, we had never once pushed into their base. Never once. And Murky by himself had gotten their core to 2%. And so I was like nearby, and I just, as Stitches ran in there, slammed it one time, and then it was it. Yeah. And that was game. So it was just, and as much as like it was funny at the time, it's like, is that really like a satisfying victory for us? That's got to be a really frustrating loss for the other team. And right now, that's kind of what Murky is doing, is bringing more frustration to more people than he is bringing the fun to the one guy playing him, right? That's my issue right now. One guy's having a great time, and then the other 9 people, or 8 people if there's 2 Murkies, are not really enjoying themselves at all. They're just like frustrated and annoyed.
You're playing pufferfish poke. Where's the pufferfish? All right, poke it.
Yeah.
Where's the pufferfish? Poke it.
And obviously we could talk about the counters to him, and there are counters, I'm sure. So we can't tell if he's overpowered or not.
Attack the pufferfish and make Tassadar get mules. That's the counter to Murky at the moment.
Yeah. Well, listen, so what did the chat room just said? I don't know. He's pretty damn fun. Yeah, you're having fun. One guy's having fun. So, yeah. So, that being said, I totally understand that guy's having fun. I get it. But this game is like, I don't know if it's ready for a hero like this to always be involved. So I'm sure it's not going to always be like this. It's going to, it's similar to Hearthstone Murloc decks. Some people love him, they have fun, but you don't see him at the legend rank very often. So it'll get figured out. So I'm not too worried yet, but right now he's incredibly annoying.
Well, this Murky is interesting because he deals with a territory it's a high point of contention in other games in the genre, which is backdooring. Backdooring is one of those things where when it happens at high level play, the casters are like, well, this is a perfectly legit thing, but players rage. It is infuriating. It is really annoying to be invested in a game and playing by the rules, and then just have someone just like burrowing into your base while you're trying to play this hero brawler game. And Murky's whole thing is to pretty much lob pufferfish at your base until it's dead. It's
doesn't
very
take many pufferfish, actually.
No, pufferfish does an absurd amount of damage to buildings.
It's 1388 damage plus 52 per level or so. I don't, it's like insane.
It's a lot. No, it's a huge amount. That said, I made the point earlier in the episode that Blizzard has been saying all along that they were going to do new things to the genre, and this kind of reminds me of the quote from the initial Batman Begins movie where the Scarecrow's like, I said my product would take you places. I never said it would take you places you wanted to go. Because that's basically what Murky is. Murky is us being like, oh, this game, which has thus far featured pretty much normal archetype heroes, heavies that stun, agility heroes that do a lot of damage, casters that can do a bunch of burst damage, and then Abathur, who, obviously is pretty much their one thus far successful experiment on the genre. Murky's that second hero. And we're having to kind of deal with him in ways that are frankly uncomfortable, and we're not used to them, and thus far I don't think they're very fun. That said, I've played a lot of Murky lately. I bought him.
Get
I was
out.
just like, I gotta try this.
You're gone. Out of here.
Murky has a surprisingly okay teamfight presence. And his heroic March of the Murlocs is amazing. It's so good in
really
teamfights.
good.
Like his other one, honestly, the other heroic sucks. Like it just sucks.
What is it, Octo Grab or something like that? I don't even know what it does.
Even if you upgrade it, he's not very good. Like it's not a very good move. Whereas March of the Murlocs,
it's just a stun, right? I mean, it's a long stun, but it's
a stun. He sacrifices himself to do it, which I guess you can say like, okay, well, if he grabs say like a Tassadar, no, not a Tassadar, but if he grabs like a Zeratul or we grab like a Demon Hunter, then trading Murky for that is good. But it's one of those things where March of the Murlocs just does so much more damage. It does a lot of damage. It's very chaotic. It slows.
Slows the crap out of everybody.
It's just that move that is super annoying to deal with. And in teamfights, honestly, like pufferfish is frankly useless in teamfights. Like you have to do so much planning to land a pufferfish on an opponent, and it's going to involve like hooks pulling people in at the right moment. I mean, it's doable. It's really, really difficult, and good players aren't going to fall for it.
It takes 5 seconds to actually go off, so it's way too much time, and you can just hit it like twice and it's dead. So
that said, Murky can beat up on some heroes a little bit through attrition. He scorches Tyrande. I feel like Tyrande has no real ability to like keep basically him off her. Mm-hmm. But most other heroes in a 1v1 obviously just destroy Murky. You were talking counters. I also think Falstad and Brightwing are both great counters to him.
Yeah.
Because they can just zip around the map. That's pretty much what I did. Is when I picked Brightwing, and then obviously like I queued up into a game. I saw there was a Murky. I just followed him around. Him around, made him miserable, and then while he was actually really dead, because I found his egg and just killed him in the egg, and then I just flew back to help my team. Murky's not going to be one of those heroes who I think is really ever seen on the competitive scene when it does develop. I think he'll be like a change of pace pick that you might see like once to try to confuse the enemy who maybe doesn't know how to deal with him. But Murky is in general like he's more to me. He's more reminiscent of like a boss mechanic in World of Warcraft. You learn what he does, you learn the moves, you learn what happens when, and then you counter it. And it's not going to require super specific counters. Like it's just going to require very intuitive play. And in pre-mates, just being like, okay, you know what, Dills, you're on Murky this. I'm sorry, I know it's not fun to babysit him, but you're on him this game. Somebody's just going to have to say,
but again, though, that's what I'm saying is that it makes somebody not have very much fun, and that's the problem right now. And the thing is, until we have a banning system and a drafting of heroes system, it's going to kind of suck because he's just going to be there, and you can't like I would see him in the when you say like in the competitive play that we'll see later on, I would see him as being like the last pick because the other team didn't pick somebody that would counter him well. Then it's like, oh well, we could take a Murky now, But in most games, someone will pick somebody and we're like, oh, we can't take Murky because, they got.
Yeah, and there's a lot of picks, to be
Falstad.
fair, that are going to pretty much be like just counter to Murky. And like, I think both Brightwing and Falstad so far have shown that they could easily be heroes you'd see in a competitive match. Like both of them break.
I think Tassadar too is pretty good because he's got a lot of, he can shield the buildings. He's got like the ability to see all over the map.
Yeah,
his sight granting is so good against Murky.
Oracle decimates Murky. Like it's just. And the thing is, too, Murky on certain maps doesn't really have like a whole bunch of good hiding spots for the egg. Like Blackheart's Bay and Dragonshire don't really have good spots for it. Like honestly, Cursed Hollow is the only map that I think is really good for Murky because there's so many spots. Like you really have to do your due diligence to track down his egg. Especially Murky has a talent that allows him to pretty much respawn from his egg stealth for 10 seconds. That one makes tracking the egg down really hard because you don't know which direction he's coming from.
Yeah.
But like obviously most of the time, like when you kill him and then see him reappear on the map 3 seconds later, you have a pretty good idea of where the egg is. So I agree with you. I don't think he's a super fun hero, and most of the community I feel like has backed us up on that. It's actually interesting. Richard Koo posted on the official forums earlier, basically talking around that they're actually kicking around the idea of changing him up. And let me go ahead and just read what Richard Koo posted here in this paragraph. Okay. So Richard Koo, who is a developer on Heroes of the Storm, said, one of the ideas we were kicking around internally was to further incentivize hunting Murky's egg was to reveal Murky if his egg is killed for some period of time, like say 10 seconds. That makes it so putting Murky down after finding his egg is more feasible. We also feel that because Murky could be alive so often, his ability to harass with March of the Murlocs was too strong against unguarded structures. So we are taking a look into that balance as well. The goal is to keep that moment as awesome as possible, though. So they are aware that Murky does have some hang-ups, and like I said, I like it. I like the fact that they're so transparent with what they're thinking about doing. So, because
I like that they're willing to try new things though too. So I'm not like right now just saying like, just get rid of this guy, whatever. But he'll need to get tweaked. And I think at some point, whether he gets tweaked or not, he will obviously get figured out. And so I'm not like, I'm not too concerned. But in the current state of the game, where you can't ban and you can't choose based on what the other team has chosen. You don't know what the map is going to be. Like, you just don't know any of that stuff. You just see nothing but Murky all the time. And
also, consider the next hero that's slated to come out is Zagara. And Zagara's whole thing at PAX East was pretty much that Zagara runs around the map backdooring. Zagara doesn't fight. Zagara summons minions. She makes creeps. She makes Nidus Canals. And she goes to your base. Like, the difference is obviously when you kill Zagara, she's dead. But it seems like she's going to have the ability to really quickly jump around the map. So, like, you come for her, and then she goes up top to push that. Like, she's going to be another hero where backdooring is going to be kind of common. And these are two specialist heroes. Specialists, like Sergeant Hammer, can very easily outrange, like, towers. Specialists may just be that class of hero that's just super annoying to deal with. And you consider, when you look at the pricing points right now for the heroes, you have Vala, Muradin, Malfurion, and there's, Jim Raynor. They're all 2,000 gold. They're all cheap. And those are basically, 3 of them are like the starter archetype heroes, and then Vala's free if you actually have Reaper of Souls. So those archetype heroes, there's one for each basically, and then Vala. There's no cheap specialist. Specialists are not like
they're complicated.
Exactly.
They're complicated to play. Yeah.
And the complication tends to manifest so far in heroes like Abathur and then heroes that backdoor. So maybe that's just what we see from specialists.
The thing is right now, and Garrett, I know you could back me up on this, that Abathur doesn't, like, Abathur's a completely different hero than anybody else.
Yep.
But doesn't tend to, like, just outright win games for anybody yet, because it's just difficult as hell to make.
He requires a lot of team coordination. And can I go ahead and guess what you're about to follow that up with? Which is that you can just kind of blindly play Murky with no team coordination.
I guarantee you right now, having never played Murky, I could buy Murky right now and like win a couple games tonight, like pretty easily by myself.
Yeah. The thing, I mean,
because it's not the same. It's not. There's not that level of like, how do I do this correctly? It's like pretty cut and dry what you're supposed to be doing.
Right. That's the thing. Is the only other thing I think that hasn't been said that I was going to say is that it feels to me like I get into a game and I see I'm playing against Murky. It feels like I'm playing against an AI because every game I play against the Murky behaves exactly the same way, regardless of who's playing him.
Yeah, there's not like a secondary way to do this.
But the other thing too, and people in the chat room say, "Oh, stop QQing." We've only been sitting on him for a week. We've had one week with this. Granted, in that week, It's like the Joker came in and blew up a couple bridges. It's like, what the hell is going on? Somebody call Batman.
Yeah.
But
Murky has definitely introduced a little anarchy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't think what we're doing is necessarily QQing. We're just like pointing out what is going on right now and pointing out why it's an issue in the current state of the game. It's not that I'm like not gonna play the game. Like I actually read it. There was a post someone posted. I am not gonna play this game anymore now that Murky's here. That was a post at the top of the Heroes of the Storm Reddit.
People being unreasonable on the internet.
Yeah,
what?
And everybody in the stupid like the entire forum post was just full of people being like, "Yep, I'm out. I'm out of here. That's it. I'm out." And I'm definitely not saying that, so I wouldn't call what we're doing QQing, but just pointing out, which is actually not very. It's pretty obvious what we're pointing out here. Just pointing out the actual issues that he brings to the current state of the game. So
It's also, I mean, you have to consider, like I said, we are in a game right now that is priding itself on being different from the genre, which is awesome. Because obviously we all want like a different type of game, and we all want to enjoy something that's totally unique. At the same time, there has to be a point where you don't go so far off kilter that it's not fun anymore. And that's the line I think that the Heroes developers are going to have to figure out. Is Murky so radically different and annoying that he's not fun for the game? And once they get into a point where like he's balanced out to where he can still be fun, then great. You have a hero that backdoors that never dies. Awesome. Mm-hmm. But can it be made to where he doesn't just make the game miserable for people? So
there's going to be a balance, and Blizzard's going to find it, and I feel fully confident in Blizzard's ability to do the correct thing when it comes to how they treat Murky going forward. I'm not concerned with it right now. But the games right now, you see them and you just go, like you said, Garrett, you just get that little like, oh, damn it. Here we go, Murky again.
Well, at this point, I've become so
like,
desensitized.
We got a Murky now. What's up? So
at this point, a week later, I'm so desensitized to it, I just expect Murky, so I no longer go, oh, Murky. Now I'm just like, all right, here's Murky. I'm gonna check this bush.
Guaranteed to be there.
Like you just load up the game, Murky's in it, and you just hear in the background like, everybody hurts. So you just start playing.
Yeah. It's just it's right now we're just in the weird time for any new hero, I think, though. So this is the first of what I'm sure is going to be many heroes that come along that everyone's going to go, this is overpowered. This can't exist in this game. It's going to happen more and more. So whatever, it is what it is.
Indeed. Let's take some emails before we close out the show. You can send those emails to itncast@gmail.com. Our first email today comes to us from Grievous, who writes, "Hello, heroes. I finally got into the alpha last week for Heroes of the Storm, and so far I am loving the game. The variety of maps to play is a nice change of pace, and love the new objective game types. But as a longtime League of Legends player who likes the classic MOBA map, do you think Blizzard will ever incorporate the map into the map rotation?" I think he means the classic map. Or do you think they are going to stay away from it altogether? Would the classic map even work in this game? Love the show and the Angry Chicken. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Grievous. When I first heard about this game and I tried it at BlizzCon, I was just like, oh, I really want to try this with the classic Dota map. Having been able to play more than one game of it, no, I don't really think I want this anymore.
Also, since I'm basically Dustin Browder anyway, physically, I'm going to give you the Dustin Browder rant here. Let me. All right. No, actually, see, we're making Heroes of the Storm for people who want to play Heroes of the Storm. So obviously, if you're looking for a more classic League of Legends map, you can just as easily go boot up League of Legends. It's a free-to-play game. It's not hard to get into, so that's where you can go for that. We're going to keep making fun maps that are fun for us over in Heroes of the Storm.
That sounds like exactly what he would say. I'm going to put it out there that I think that map would work, but I think that would probably not be something they would ever do in a... Like, I don't think that Heroes version of competitive ranked play will include that map in the rotation, but I think that they could put something where there's no objectives, no nothing, just fighting for lanes as part of the custom game experience if that's what you just want to play for funsies. And I could see that working out, but I'm not going to hold my breath for that to happen. But I could see it working.
Heroes is so PvE dependent because of the objectives now. Like, I mean, I guess you could argue, the games of the jungle is like a huge thing.
Yeah.
But, I just don't see it happening. And moreover, I don't think Blizzard wants to do it, because if they did it, and people were like, "Oh, this is way cooler than the other maps." Then they run into this thing where people don't want to play the other maps, and they're like, "Oh, well, can we just play on the standard, 5v5 3-lane map? Like, can we do that?"
Well,
You could take an existing map, like, it's already like you could just take the Dragonshire and just get rid of the dragon, and then you could just be playing.
It's way smaller than a standard Dota map. There's
it's smaller. Yeah, absolutely.
The thing that this does make me think of, is that in the game currently, none of the maps have a difference in elevation at any point on the map. There is no high ground, low ground. It does not exist. No. And that's something that's very prevalent in Dota 2. You've got the river area, where it messes with sight and whatnot. If you're down in it or if you're above it, you can see farther. And I'd really like to see something like that.
That could be cool, yeah. I mean, I just think that there's definitely room for that here, but I don't think that that's going to be the direction they're going to go. But I don't think that that wouldn't work based on how all the other stuff works. Like, you could still... It would just be, you did it with like a 2-1-2 type of thing where you're just fighting over your lane, and then eventually you team fight because it's time to team fight, but there's not objectives that force team fights. It could work. I just don't think it's what's going to happen. But I do think it could work, just on the basis of how the game plays out.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
All right. Fair enough. Dills, you want to take the second email?
Sure. This is from Adrian. He says, "Hi, IT," or she says, I don't know. Hi, ITN Cast. My question was originally posted in the A-Move forums. It touches the possibility of a Founders Pack coming to Heroes, which we already talked about. As someone who is yet to be invited to the alpha test, I am very eager to play. However, knowing the game will be free to play eventually, and given the recent trend of Founders Packs and early access programs included in a large portion of releases in today's PC gaming market, my scumbag cash grab radar is definitely going off, making it difficult to justify a purchase. That being said, I'm all for digital goods, given the price being adequate relative to my time spent playing the game, which leads to the core problem in this case, paying for something you have yet to try out. So the question, variable as it might be, goes to you guys with alpha access. What price would you see fit for a Heroes beta, and what's your general opinion on early access and Founders Packs? Sincerely, Dabo Wabo from Oslo, Norway. Weekly listener since StarCast episode 21. Been enjoying all your shows since. Oh, and thanks for introducing me to TMS. Now I'm addicted.
You're welcome.
Well, this is a great question, actually. We didn't even touch on that when we were talking about like what price we think would... Well, we kind of did. We said like the price of the mount giving you the access to the beta, or,
I'd see like $20 or $30.
I think that would make sense. If a mount costs 15 already, then yeah, you say 20, and now you get a mount, which is extra special, and access to the beta. I think something like that would be fine. I will say this: if you spend $20 to get a mount and you also get the game before everyone else can just get it for free, that's probably going to be worth it to a lot of people. And just judging the amount of time I've put into this game, you'll probably feel like it's totally worth your $20 if that's what it is. If it's $40, pass.
I'd still do it, but yeah.
Yeah, but wait for it to be free. You know what I mean? Like $20 is like, hey, I get a thing, and I get to keep the thing once the game actually comes out. Then yeah, you're paying for the thing and early access, so that's fine. But I think if you go much beyond that, I think you said 2025. I think that's either one of those is totally fine numbers.
Rob, what do you think of her price?
I mean, it's one of those things where a big question mark is, when does this become available? Like, if it became available tomorrow and I wasn't in the game and I really wanted to be in it, and I keep hearing that, it doesn't look like this game's going to be in like full release for a while, and that, maybe it was put out there pretty early, I guess I would do it for 20. I'm not normally someone who's willing to pay money for that kind of stuff, personally. Especially considering there are so many other games in the genre, to be honest.
That's one of those things. You can go play Smite right now for free, League for free, Dota for free.
Like, I honestly, I bring it up again, kind of my hipster MOBA, but I play Heroes of Newerth still. Occasionally I pop in with my roommates because that's what they all play.
That is the hipster MOBA.
It is, hold on, let me put on my hipster glasses here. But no, that's the game I choose to play with my roommates because they're still all totally into it. Like, I personally wouldn't pay more than $20 if I was going to pay it all. I probably wouldn't pay. Not that Heroes isn't a fun game. I agree with his radar that it feels cash grabby. And, I think the problem here is if you're just someone who's looking at Heroes of the Storm objectively, then, I think you may have a little bit of a different opinion. But, being that I write about Blizzard so much as a whole, it's one of those things where like I'm kind of like, well, I still really want Warlords of Draenor Alpha, so maybe until I get that, I'm not paying for Heroes of the Storm. Like I'm weird, but I think $20 is a good pricing point.
Yeah, I think so too. I think though, again though, like what I said earlier about the black market thing, this being like kind of we're gonna get out in front of this thing before it becomes that. The black market for Hearthstone beta keys was setting the price at ridiculous levels. So if they can cut that off before that ever happens, great. If they make it $20 instead of someone just trying to like squeeze $100 out of some chump, then yeah, perfect. So if that's the reason for this, then yes, go for it. And I think with Blizzard, I mean, maybe it's because I'm in Blizzard's back pocket and I'm such a Blizzard fanboy.
We're cashing those Blizzard checks all the time.
As I hear all the time. Yeah, but maybe it's I give them more the benefit of the doubt and never really tend to immediately jump to cash grab scumbag stuff. I never really jump on that right away with Blizzard because I think they're printing money as is. They don't really need to do that. So I think their motives are pure in most cases. Like obviously they're trying to make money. They're a company, and you can't ever fault the company for trying to make money. But I think the motives are mostly pure and just wanting to get the game out to people who want the game and try to do the right thing as far as making it easier for their player base rather than making the mistakes they've made in the past. They seem to always learn from their mistakes and do something better the next time around.
Yeah, and Double Wab here also just asked what our general opinion was on early access and Founders Packs. And I didn't even, when I heard about the Founders Pack leak, like putting it in the same like bracket as early access, it didn't even occur to me because, I mean, again, this is probably our bias. We're sitting here doing a show about a Blizzard game. Clearly we're fans, but I don't really put Blizzard's alphas and betas in the same subject line as random Greenlight Steam game number 26, which is probably broken as hell and asking for $40.
Yeah, and those things really scare me off, man. When I see that stuff on Steam, I'm like, no, never going to do this.
You can look at other games, like other MMOs, and obviously this isn't an MMO, but look at like some of the MMOs like Arcade and stuff like that have come out recently. They were like $180 gets you immediate access. It's like, ooh. Like we're talking, like Blizzard, I don't think there's any way Blizzard does more than 20. And honestly, I could see it being 15. I really could.
Oh, I really could too.
Blizzard doesn't price gouge. They don't really price gouge. It's not their thing. Like
a Mountain WoW 25, and I would never see it being more than that ever.
Like other companies, like you said, I mean, Blizzard's not in a situation financially where they really like need that money. Where you see like other games, the other companies that couldn't dream of the amount of money Blizzard probably makes in a year. They probably need to look into like, I don't care if you like this game, I just need $180.
Yeah, like this game will not come out if I don't sell enough of these things.
Yeah, Blizzard's not in that situation. Obviously.
Oh, hell no, not even close. Yeah. Game's coming out regardless.
Yeah.
So.
Plus, I mean, you can go to Twitch right now, you can watch people stream this game, and you can see that it's not a total broken pile.
No, that's their technical alpha, and even in its earliest stages, was way more polished than, say, Elder Scrolls Online.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, their alphas, shots fired.
You're not going to see any return fire between these two other dudes.
No. Me and Garrett are on board.
I'm just saying, like, their technical alpha was there was, like, everyone was even saying, like, wow, this is really good looking for, something that's still supposedly an alpha. Now, obviously, things are being fixed constantly, but it's not like something you play for, like, an hour and you're like, well, I love this game, but it sucks. It's one of those things where you keep playing it even though, by their definition, they're like, we're nowhere near finished with it. So that's a good sign.
But we're sitting here just like, I really want to put together a tournament. Can we get the observer mode in? That would be awesome.
Put custom games back in. I know why you took them out, but put them back in.
And you can hear it over the mountain somewhere over Blizzard like, hold on, no, too soon.
Blizzard's like going to put like a black bag over me, like, stop talking about it.
The Blizzard police.
Blizzard police, man.
I would be okay with Blizzard jail as long as it looks like a dungeon from the Azeroth universe.
It actually just looks like the stockades. You just hang out with like the stockades. Yeah, they put you in the stockades, man. That's Blizzard jail.
Awesome. All right. And every now and then, 5 dudes come through and kill everything.
Yeah, they take your loot. They take your wool cloth and your coppers, and you're like, oh man.
Wonderful.
Too bad this is going to happen again in 10 minutes.
Okay, respawn. Everyone up.
Come on, guys. Get it together.
But no, I mean, very very good discussion topic, Dabawa. But thank you for your email. But anyways, that more or less does it for today's episode. Chat room, if you want, shoot us a few questions. We'll take a couple questions before we end the show. Something we've been doing on Angry Chicken or started doing recently, so might as well.
Yeah, we got
do it
a
now.
good 15 minutes left. We could talk about stuff. So here's not a question but a statement. Dills gets paid in Blizz bucks, which can only be used at the Blizz store in WoW, Hearthstone, and Heroes. You know, I would love to get
so
paid
jazzed
anything at all. Whether
right.
it's $0 or Blizz bucks. Bring it on.
Yeah.
I'm
sure we all feel that way.
You just described a pretty not terrible situation. I realized it was a joke, like, well, you can't buy food with this. No, but
yeah,
I'm already sacrificing food for packs of Hearthstone
Exactly.
cards. So
Yeah, seriously, like, why would I need food when I have Hearthstone packs? Come on.
by default, it becomes food later because then I have money for food. Yeah.
I've had that discussion with myself before. Like, well, I do need groceries, but I could buy 40 Hearthstone packs. Look at my dog. Like, you don't need to eat, right? My dog's like, I definitely need food.
I really need to get some new legendaries, so you're just gonna have to suck it up.
I need a Golden King Mooklet, dog. Why don't you understand?
I feel like we've talked about this on the show before, but just in case we haven't, and it's a fun topic anyway. Explode77 asked, if there's any one hero you would love in Heroes of the Storm, who would you want in?
There's
Robert,
only one correct answer. So Dills don't. Shh. It's Edwin Van Cleef.
Well, yeah.
What?
That's who I want. That is always.
It's not even close to the only correct answer.
That is the only correct answer, and you're all lapdogs. Lapdogs, all of you. The Brotherhood shall rise.
I would like to see some old gods. I'd like to see like some Yogg or.
How are you going to make that something that moves and can not?
It doesn't have to move.
Lane?
They don't have to make any of this stuff the way
There you
that.
go. Specialist hero Yogg Saron spawns like 84 tentacles.
He replaces your core.
That back door.
Your
He's just
core
a
is
giant
now Yogg Saron.
Blob that's just chilling, and then he's got like his brain, and I don't know, he does stuff.
No, seriously, guys, hear me out.
That's how it works, man. I'm not designing this game.
No
I'm just
more,
saying.
no more core. Yogg Saron is now the center of your main
out.
town, and he.
No, seriously, couldn't you see this though? Like, okay, so Yogg Saron sits in your base. He has all those eyes and everything.
Yep.
And then, like every 30 seconds, he can spawn a different vision, like the fight. Like, you know, it's different scenes from Azeroth's history, but he spawns them like in the middle of other team fights already going on. That totally just like somehow screw up your screen. Like you think you're in a team fight, but all of a sudden you're watching Thrall in like the slave camp or something. I don't know. Like,
how about a Lord Jaraxxus? I could go for a little Lord Jaraxxus.
If it's Jaraxxus, like literally, it can't not say "You face Jaraxxus, Lord of the Burning," like constantly, just like to the point that everyone's super sick of it. Like God, don't pick Jaraxxus, please. I have a headache. I can't handle any more Jaraxxus.
Trifling gnome.
Trifling gnome.
You know we're gonna get stuff like that though. We're gonna get like Ragnaros and things like that eventually.
No,
I mean, it's
absolutely.
just gonna happen, right?
I really want Millhouse Manastorm. And I want Millhouse Manastorm to be just like this powder keg hero that just does a ton of burst damage, has like no HP, but like kind of like I mean to go with League of Legends here, like an Annie type of hero. You know, just pops out and murders you. Plus, you know, when he kills you, you can be like, "You face Millhouse Manastorm."
More voices I don't need to hear over and over again. That's what I'm hearing.
I wish I could run him in Hearthstone. Like I wish he was a viable card, just because I love hearing that.
I still just want Sylvanas. I want my Dark Ranger.
We know Sylvanas is coming, and
yeah, she's probably coming soon though. Her and Thrall.
Thrall is coming. Yeah, Jaina Proudmoore.
We saw a Kael'thas model at PAX.
Oh my god, I want the Kael'thas model so bad. Kael'thas is another one of just like, you know, hopping again into WoW lore, but like he is my favorite character out of Warcraft 3. Kael'thas was so awesome in Frozen Throne. Like, it continuously makes me sad what they did with him in Burning Crusade. But in Warcraft 3, he was amazing.
No, man, if there's a show where you can get nerdy about Blizzard lore,
well, I was gonna say, you know,
I think a Heroes of the Storm show is the only place where you can do it about all the IPs because they're all included.
Yeah, I feel like you know maybe Dills knows of some other show about nerdy about Warcraft. I don't know.
No,
maybe I don't know.
I
don't know, but no. I definitely I would like to see that actually right there is probably my top three. Edwin Van Cleef, Millhouse Manastorm, and Kael'thas.
I want to see Who was the warden from Warcraft 3?
The warden in Warcraft 3.
Maeve.
Maeve.
Yeah.
I want to
Maeve
see
would be
Maeve
pretty
really
awesome too, if
bad.
only because like I would love to see the exchange between her and Illidan. Like I love the character exchanges. Like I don't know if you've ever heard Raynor and Tychus, fight each other.
Or Raynor and Kerrigan, or Raynor and all the StarCraft characters have great.
Like if Tychus kills Raynor, he goes, most wanted man in the Cupola sector. Ain't that hard to kill. It's so awesome. Also, spoilers, guys. We are spoiling some stuff.
Just the fact that they were able to get, Rob Clotworthy and Neil Kaplan back in the booth to give us some more lines of dialogue for those awesome characters is enough. It makes me happy enough that this game exists. This game could be crap, and just because I get more Tychus one-liners, it makes me happy.
Exactly. Isn't it so sad when you play, what was it, Heart of the Swarm, and he's not in it?
I know.
Like, what a waste of a game. Where's Tychus?
Yeah. That game, by the way, everyone, is HOTS. This is not HOTS. Just call this Heroes.
Yeah, Heroes.
When you say HOTS, I think
plenty of people
StarCraft.
have said it, but Deckard Cain needs to happen at some point too, right?
Oh, just throwing books at people like a whole lore NATO. I still like the idea of the lore NATO. We're just like all these books flying around at you.
Yeah.
Explode77 also mentions Bane. I think Bane Bloodhope would be awesome.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
But when you he'd be Cairn, and then when you kill him, he resurrects as Bane.
Cairn and become Bane, yeah.
Yeah, that would be actually kind of awesome and totally a nod to Hearthstone. Unless he gets silenced. Malfurion uses his silence, and then they just die.
They kill him, yep.
Oh, that's just sad. Oh, so. Anyways.
Card, huh? Ooh. Sorry, there we go.
So that'll do it for today's episode. Before we leave, thanks to those of you who left us 5-star reviews in the iTunes store. Really appreciate it. It's a great way to help out the show if you're a fan and you're not anti-Apple. It always happens. We mention this. People are like, Apple, meh. It's fine.
You can hate Apple and still like the show.
It's okay. You can like the
show.
But
if you don't hate Apple and also like the show, leave us a 5-star review.
It's just...
And then say your name.
Yeah, it's just where the majority of our downloads come from, so that's why we give it the attention. This week I want to thank Blackhawk. I want to thank Bush Williams. I want to thank Sleeping Not Dead. Awesome name. Jay Blang and DarkSub33. Thank you guys very much for your 5-star reviews. As always, Into the Nexus is a production of amove.tv. Make sure you bookmark that website to see all of our shows. Dills and myself can be found on The Angry Chicken. We are coming back this Monday. Hopefully Jocelyn is still not under the Canadian plague.
We missed the entire Rebirth card, which is totally named wrong, and we didn't even get a chance to talk about it. Yep. A shaman card named Rebirth. Really? Blizzard, really?
Blizzard, please.
Blizz, please.
Blizz, please. Why don't I have a podcast named that?
You guys could have had one.
Oh.
You guys could have had a Hearthstone podcast.
Right? You still could. I'm not doing anything on... No, I'm doing something every night. Never mind.
That'll be I'll resurrect This Week in Blizz, but we'll just rename it Blizz Please, and we'll talk about all
just
of
don't rebirth.
All of the IP. I'll rebirth it. Yeah.
Resurrect is fine. Reincarnate would be fine.
If you guys have a podcast called Blizz Please, I'm just saying, I have nothing going on whenever you're doing it.
Wonderful. You can also email us at itncast@gmail.com. Our forum is over at forum.amove.tv. Catch us live every Thursday night right here at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on twitch.tv/amovetv. Our mobile live stream is provided by Alpha Geek Radio, which you can get by going to mobile.alphageekradio.com. Our Twitter is at ITNcast. I can be found at Garrett Art. Dills can be found at Willie Dills, and our guest host today, Robert, can be found at Robert A. Wing. Big thanks to Brian Griffith, the musician responsible for our awesome intro music. His website is briangriffithmusic.com. And my final personal pimp, and then I'll shut up and let these guys do some talking, is nomoonart.com. That's my graphic design portfolio. If you need a freelance graphic designer, check me out. I'm not terrible.
He is not. I can vouch for that.
Dills, where can people find you when you're not just like raging at the top of your lungs about a tiny little Murloc in a diaper?
Not a Murloc with a diaper on.
Yeah.
You can find me on The Instance, which is the World of Warcraft podcast. So you don't have to. We record every Friday morning, and we'll be doing a show tomorrow. I'm guessing that the big news we'll be talking about, besides the new Garrison stuff, is episode 7 of Azeroth Choppers. Like, it's every week now. It's like that's the only thing going on in World of Warcraft, which is kind of sad.
So pretty much you've become a reality show recap.
Yeah, we're just a reality show review.
Is that what's happened?
Podcast now. I don't know, but hey, we've seen the bikes. You can vote Horde, please.
Nels, you're crashing into what material you have here. Come on, man.
I know, that's true. You can also, of course, find me on the Angry Chicken with Garrett and Jocelyn, and Torture Cast, podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants, and MGA, the Mediocre Golf Association, is going incredibly strong. I'm gonna pimp something that's not out yet, but I'm excited to show everybody. We are making, or we have made, and we're finalizing a rap video based on the music of one Stitches from Miami. You guys probably know about Stitches, right? He's a Florida guy. He's got a lot of face tattoos, and he sells illicit drugs.
What?
And he makes rap.
We hang out on the weekends.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys chill, right? I mean, everyone in Florida knows each other. But we made a parody of that song. It's going to be coming out pretty soon. It's about playing golf really badly, and you get to see me rap and hear me rap if you if you ever wanted to do that.
Will you be performing it
for everybody.
Are you performing this live at Nertacular?
I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll see. Maybe I can be, if you can ply me with enough alcohol, I might be talked into it. We'll see. But anyway, so if you're also interested in playing mediocre golf, you can check out mjtour.com and join a chapter near you, or start one if there isn't one.
Awesome. Go check that out. And Robert, the floor is yours. Any shout outs you would like to make?
Yeah, obviously, I am the site manager, as I mentioned earlier, of BlizzPro's Heroes of the Storm site. So come check it out at heroes.blizzpro.com, where I, consider putting stuff up sometimes and maybe do. I also am writing about Hearthstone over at wowinsider.com. It's a small indie site. You've probably never heard of it.
Wow, Insider? No, I don't know about that.
It's ridiculous. Apparently they go inside Warcraft.
Not a .net because
it's actually a .org, I think. .org.gov. Wowinsider.gov.
Yeah, okay.
Otherwise, you can be found me. I am a wordsmith. You can find me on Twitter at Robert A. Wing, where I'm often talking way too much about like Hearthstone and Pop-Tarts and everything else that makes life great.
You were one of the most prolific tweeters that I follow.
Oh my god, I don't know how anybody puts up with it. Like, I wake up every day expecting to just be like, you know what? Honestly, I tried to like you, but you talk too much. But from everybody. Beyond that, I occasionally do stuff on DeviantArt, which I'm not gonna link, so it doesn't matter. That's pretty much it. A shout out to
me saying I sometimes do yard work, but you don't know where I live, so
a shout out to Ben Brode.
My man, Ben.
Awesome. Obviously, this is not the right podcast, but until I can somehow claw a guest spot on the Angry Chicken, I'm just gonna give my my shout out to Ben Brode here and hope to God he somehow hears it.
He just might.
Miracles.
Maybe him and Young Woo get together on weekends and listen to non-TAC shows we do.
That could happen. I don't know.
Hopefully. Oh, also one last thing. Check out the Hearth Pro Show, which is a Hearthstone podcast by BlizzPro. I do stuff on it.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Like, I occasionally leave like little sound bites. So.
It's a really good show.
Thank you, Bills.
Go check it out. And again, Robert, thank you so much for coming on. You were great.
Thank you for having me, guys.
It's almost like this was well planned.
Oh, it's always fun planning these things like 3 weeks in advance and hanging out with you guys.
Yeah. We write our notes like a month in advance, and please check out our sponsors, everyone. By the way, before we leave, our sponsors are DogHouseSystems.com and TweakedAudio.com. The code to use for both of those websites is ITN, and that'll get you double memory on your next Doghouse Systems gaming rig. Also, don't forget to go check out their special edition rigs, because there's not an Into the Nexus one yet, but there is an Angry Chicken one, so go ahead and get that. And tweakedaudio.com, that same code ITN gets you 30% off and free shipping off of your entire order of noise-reducing earbuds from them. And I've been forced to work out again as it's getting to the summer season, and my fiance wants to lose weight, so I need to lose weight too. And these are the only thing I enjoy about working out, because they stay in my ears and they're comfy, and I get to listen to my punk rocks while I run. So,
What's your current punk band that you're listening to right now?
The Menzingers.
The Menzingers.
Blowing my mind. I don't know how I waited so long to start listening to them. Rented World might be my favorite album of 2014. I'd be hard-pressed to find something I'll enjoy more than it. It's so good. It's so good. Go
They're, I think it's the lead singer. I don't know, but he looks like almost exactly like a buddy of mine who looks almost exactly like Nick Cage. So every time I see him now, I don't think he looks like Nick Cage, but like somehow like it's transferred over. Like like his ability to look like my friend, whose ability to look like Nick Cage makes me. Then it's like a cycle, you know. Then it's like right back to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like those guys. Good band.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And that's saying something because Lawrence Arms is one of my all-time favorite bands, and they put out their first new album in like 10 years this year. And Menzingers are still vying for that favorite album of the year. So,
someone in the chat just said that Lawrence Arms retweeted you or something today. Have you noticed that yet?
I did.
Ah.
I was complaining that they weren't coming to Florida. Good to know
okay.
that they favorited my anguish. Thank you. Thank you, Lawrence
They were
Arms.
like, well, we're not going to tell you that we are now, but we'll favorite this, and that should be enough.
One of my all-time favorite bands, and I've never seen them. It's depressing. This episode of the Punk Rock Cast, which budded off of Into the Nexus, was brought to you by Garrett and Dills, like alternative music.
Sometimes we just do that.
It happens. Anyways, thanks again, Robert, and we'll see you all next week for episode 8 of Into the Nexus. Have a good one.
Kill Murky.